Hello everyone. Today on the Hadron Collider Quantum Mechanics series, I'm going to talk about what is quantum mechanics. As always everyone, I have a quote to start with, and the quote is, "If quantum mechanics doesn't profoundly shock you, you haven't understood it yet." Written by the incredible Niels Bohr. Now, this is a guy who basically is one of the fathers with Max Planck on quantum mechanics, and he said, if quantum mechanics doesn't profoundly shock you, you haven't understood it. Now, Niels Bohr had big arguments with Albert Einstein, and eventually, during the Solvay conference, was able to convince the great, the amazing Albert Einstein that quantum mechanics was in fact how the world operated at the subatomic level. Niels Bohr is an incredible man. So how I found quantum mechanics was, I guess growing up from a scientific background, I really wanted to understand some of the spiritual teachings that were coming my way. Buddhist philosophy of impermanence, the understanding that reality, what we see with our hands and eyes and ears, isn't exactly all there is, and that consciousness really shapes the universe. That all sounded great to me, but I felt like it needed some scientific backing. I felt like if this stuff had some fundamental truth, there must be something out there that can help me fundamentally understand it from a scientific perspective. I wasn't willing to just listen to some guru or some person who seemed to have just naturally come up with these ideas. So I found quantum mechanics through searching through and rejecting the day-to-day things that had got me in trouble during my life. And over my 12-month transformation, I decided that I wasn't going to, just look at classical mechanics, which is, gravity and you throw something and it falls down. I want to look beyond that because I needed better answers than I was getting. And I looked into quantum mechanics. So a little bit about quantum mechanics. The father of quantum mechanics, the great, the irrepressible Max Planck in 1900, really helped us with the understanding of matter and moved into the quantum field. And then that Solvay conference with Albert Einstein, Marie Curie, all the greatest physicists in 1911 got together. They decided that quantum mechanics was really at the heart of the subatomic world and that it was our best theory yet at the universe. Now, from 1911 till 2015 today, quantum mechanics has been proven right time and time and time again. So what is quantum mechanics? Well, quantum mechanics has 4 major areas that I need you to try and get your head around, because as you transform in life, understanding how things really work is incredibly important, and this is how they really work. Number 1, the field of probability. Life, the universe, everything you see is just a field of probability. It's trillions and trillions and trillions of outcomes that could exist but don't exist until a conscious observer becomes involved. Sort of like a television station, we have all that static. Now within that static is the opportunity to watch 15 television channels, but you need to tune into the television channel that you want. It doesn't mean that static disappears. It doesn't mean those other channels disappear. It means that you're not tuned into that frequency. And this was came to light, this incredible understanding, the understanding that our consciousness creates reality, was understood best during the wave and particle argument. For a long time, physicists wanted to know if light was a wave, whether it was a particle, because it seemed to have properties of both. And ultimately, the double slit experiment proved that it's both a wave and a particle, depending on what the conscious observer interacts with. They were creating waves and creating particles, and that's absolutely amazing. So, understanding 1, life is probability. You're in control of that probability. Number 2, another crazy thing that Einstein called spooky movement, and this really got Einstein stuck. It was one of his big arguments. He couldn't understand how something could move faster than the speed of light. And by the way, I bet you're told that the speed of light is the fastest that anything can move in the universe. Not true. Quantum entanglement, which is number 2 on the 4 things that are important about quantum mechanics, is that any neutrons or any subatomic particles that are generated or created together, when separated, once you do one thing to one of those particles, instantaneously it happens to the other. So if I was to spin one of those particles this way, the other would spin that way. Now that doesn't sound that crazy unless you put them trillions and trillions of light years apart and turn one, because instantly the other one turns. Now classical mechanics says that's impossible. How can 2 things so far away instantaneously interact? And it says that quantum entanglement, that things are all connected, they're universal, really that understanding of oneness, that we are one and separation is simply an illusion. Quantum entanglement proves that. Very difficult to get your head around, but if you understand the theory of the Big Bang, that at one stage the universe was the size of a pea, it means that all matter was created and was created together. Therefore, anything you move apart in the universe has some level of entanglement, which means we're all entangled or intertwined. This spooky movement really hit Albert Einstein hard, and he found it difficult to accept, but it's a key fundamental premise of quantum mechanics and has been proven time and time again. Number 3, the uncertainty principle. Now this is key. The uncertainty principle is that matter will constantly be in an uncertain field or an uncertain reality until it is acted upon. And this is best demonstrated in the concept of Schrodinger's cat. So if you could imagine Schrodinger, an amazing physicist, had a cat, and he put his cat in a box. Now this sounds like a psycho experiment, it was never done, but he puts his cat in the box, and what he has is he basically has a radioactive element that is, well, you know, I won't worry about the exact experiment, I'll tell you how it's supposed to work. You have a cat in a box and basically have a stick of dynamite, and at any moment, if a radioactive particle from this radioactive material hits a fuse, the dynamite will explode and kill the cat. Now, the box is airtight and it's steel, so it won't be destroyed, just the inside, which is the poor cat. Now, because the radioactive particles of the material are uncertain, the uncertainty principle comes into play, where the cat is both dead and alive at every minute that it's in the box. It's only dead or alive once you look. An incredible principle, right? Until you look in the box, the cat is both dead and alive. Not dead or alive, but both dead and alive. Incredible. Get your head around it. Absolutely really shakes the foundations of the things we learn as kids. And for delving with the uncertainty principle and the field of probability, the observer effect, which is the conscious observer cannot be removed from the experiment. And in fact, the fact the experiment is happening could be created by the conscious observer. And the double slit experiment is a great example of that. But more recently, data taken from the Large Hadron Collider is also being manipulated by our consciousness. We can control matter. Matter can be ultimately determined, and the field of probability can be interrupted by our consciousness. The universe doesn't matter and doesn't exist until we're here. So all those people who tell you you're an insignificant piece of dust in the spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, which is a small galaxy in a galaxy in a larger universe, which is a multiverse, don't listen to them, because your consciousness, your divine essence is what brings it into reality by the observer effect. So quantum mechanics, as you go through your year-long transformation, is going to be super important to understand, because it underpins a lot of the things we talk about. And I really hope that you use this as the backbone, the scientific backbone for your spiritual growth and your consciousness development over the next 12 months. So thank you very much. I look forward to speaking to you again, but until then, goodbye. And the Hadron Collider will see you next time on YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube.